Good morning.
Good morning, William.
Hey, Dimitris. Coffee moment to you.
Yeah, same here. How's the cold there? It's winter again, the last 3 days in Greece.
I'm not in the Netherlands. I'm in Rome.
Ah,
Yeah.
but
And
it should be the same weather there, no?
but here is yesterday were 23, 24 degrees.
Ah, okay, not
The-
winter for you then. Hello, Mauro. We cannot hear
Oh,
you.
I was muted, sorry.
Can hear you now.
How's it going, guys?
Oh, good. Hey, Mauro. You also have Goofer there.
Yeah.
But we're gonna rewrite everything in Rust, Mauro. So
It looks like it.
yeah.
That's a nice feature. We're done with everything else. Let's rewrite it.
I think I saw a post recently about the issues that Ubuntu had with, how some of their tools are being rewritten to Rust,
Mm,
but there were CVEs on those
yeah.
tools, which, I mean, one of the big reasons of the move is the CVEs you get with C applications. But I mean, the reality is that everything that is code will have a CVE at some point, right? But anyway, so people were well, like, no, instead now that we have AI, we should just write everything in C again. Just tell it to write good C. I thought it was fantastic. The internet can come with the best ideas. It's sorry.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
I think we're full actually.
Yeah.
Chaka is not coming in.
No, I think he's off.
Just today. Yeah.
Oh. Well, if Chaka is not here, I'm leaving. Okay.
Let me close some windows and then share my screen. All right, here is the screen. Here is the board. Here are my emails. All right, there we are. And then, all right. So, welcome to the planning. Anything you want to bring up before we start, like something important you want to discuss, we should do first, or we just do it like we normally do?
Okay.
All right. So let me first take us to the board and see where we stand release-wise. Then we go to the stories, the done and all. 1 second, there it is. So we're trying to get 410 out. I sorted the pending below to go through them easily. We'll see what we did this week afterwards, but let's see what's left. Okay, this is not blocking for the release. We just keep it there for monitoring. We want to get the blog post out, the SynSafe blog post about Hadron, but just a reminder there. There were more tickets before. Did anybody move something?
Yeah, clean it
Many?
up a little
Oh,
bit, just
all right, okay.
to avoid, to have the cluttering one there,
Yeah,
on the
okay.
blockers.
All right. So Hadron QA still needs us to make it work on a couple of devices. I'm currently looking at Raspberry Pi. There is an open ticket already somewhere here. Uh, the issue is it doesn't recognize the SD card, so it doesn't boot from the SD card. Something missing somewhere. I tried various things. I'll keep trying. That's one of the things missing. And then the NVIDIA boards for which we have a couple of tickets, NVIDIA Thor here and here. But I think it's already working. I think Ettore, you said it's working on NVIDIA Thor already. Chaka will know more probably.
Yeah, Yeah, he told me, he reported to me that
Yeah.
everything was working. So
All right. So yeah, making progress then.
He reported that and then disappears. That's a bit.
That's not a good sign. I can also say I fixed Coco and take vacation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Long running workloads. So the rest of them don't seem blocked. We just have to try them out. But these two, at least Raspberry, we know it doesn't work. So this is the currently blocking one, but I'm working on it. This ticket is about being able to select a kernel version when building with Kairos-init, but it goes together with a couple of other requests around Kairos-init and what it should allow. And we've discussed actually a link to those tickets somewhere here, I think. Yeah, like this one, where people ask to be able to customize what packages we install and things like that. So the idea was with Kairos-init that people didn't want so much flexibility. Like they didn't want to build it from scratch, so they didn't care too much about what it does. So it simplifies things. The moment you start wanting to do lots of modifications instead of bending Kairos in it to allow that, maybe you should go with the old way of building it with a Docker file. But one idea is that the Kairos init can help you to do so. So instead of figuring out from code exactly what Kairos init would do and re-implementing it as a Docker file, we can introduce some command in Kairos init, and I think the latest comment from Mauro describes that. Kairos init gives you a summary, like a dry run, and tells you this is what I would do if I run. It could be just a list of packages or a list of actions, or even a Docker file actually. So it could even spit out a Docker file which you can build uh, uh, and modify before you build. But that's a completely new feature for Kairos, and it's not like just one flag change the kernel or whatever. My take on this is that yeah, I prefer this, like a more global solution than you know uh, making adding small flags here and there for each specific modification people want to do, like packages or kernels or whatever. So I prefer this more universal solution. I don't know what you guys think.
I think as well that it should be there should be a general solution, but I'm also thinking, how do we allow variations? Yeah, no, I okay. I don't have. Sorry, I took time. I don't have a full idea, but I think the solution proposed by Mauro makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it already allows you to select a couple of things, like the device, right? Kerosene takes some flags. But if you start going as deep as selecting specific packages, I think it's too much. I mean, kerosene doesn't make much sense anymore. The only problem with people is that they want to make one specific modification. They don't want to re-implement everything kerosene does.
Yeah, but
And
I think that problem specifically comes from the uh, the regulated organizations that lock down which version of packet you need to install.
Mm.
So what they provide you, how does it work normally, right? They provide you an image or an ISO or a virtual machine that is already made and is locked down with the versions that they have blessed in their organization. So if you come around and you want to use Kairos, you need to be able to bless your versions like they are already doing. So I think that need, now beside those that want to install specifically just one package because they feel married to that package, but I think there is also those that have blessed versioning that need to follow because of CISO regulations or because CISO rules or because of SOC requirement auditors. There are blessed versions that they want to install. So that's
if
what
I understand correctly, with YIP, that is already covered because now you can ping the package version.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm trying to say is I completely agree that we have to let a user like Eric have that level of granularity. Then it becomes more about at what point are we going to say, okay, this is way too much flexibility for kairos-init. That means you own the full image production, right? And yeah, I guess in that case, the printing might be the best solution, but it's not going to be infallible, right? Like, what if one version of the package is actually not compatible with the other one? Because when kairos-init is doing this, behind it there's a package manager doing some sort of mapping, right, and telling you these are all the packages that are dependent on that other package that you want. So we cannot give them it's more of a roadmap or a plan that you can follow. But if you're going to start pinning things, it could be that you specify something that is not compatible at the end of the day. So I don't know. But you
One,
chose the flexible side, so that's as far as we can get.
the problem with just printing out the let's say instructions is that the first time it makes sense. Let's say it gives you a Docker file, right? And then you make your modifications. Everything you do is a patch on what it built, but kairos-init evolves, and the next time you use kairos-init to get instructions, your patches no longer apply. I think it could become very complicated, even if it just changes the structure of how it prints things, right? It could be the same commands or the same packages, but in a different order or whatever. So it's not going to be easy for people to maintain their Docker files using kairos-init as a guide.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that's the same pain that we were suffering when we maintained
Yep.
the Docker files, right? So there's no that's why we had these different stages, and that's where the complexity came.
I think that's why people ask us to integrate it in kairos-init, because they don't want to do that. So if kairos-init allowed you to change the kernel, for example, they wouldn't care how everything works. They just, change the kernel version, make it work. That's the kernel I want. But then someone else comes and says, oh, I want this package of, I don't know which, libc, whatever, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, but that's exactly my point. Like if you tell me you want this particular package, and then with that particular package I cannot produce a resulting working image, what's the output? Just a breakage, as in, or you're now on your own on something like that. I don't see another option.
Yeah. So how do people pin packages now with heap? Is that like a heap lock? What is it?
Good question.
I remember seeing it.
Yeah.
Obviously, but
I don't remember. I haven't used it, but I remember seeing it indeed. No.
All right. So back to this ticket.
Yeah.
Either we do this or we implement something more universal, like what we discuss. So the question is, do we modify kairos-init to allow you to specify just the Linux kernel? Because I mean, it's the Linux kernel, right? It's a very special one. It's not any package. It's the Linux kernel, and I see why people might want to, bump it or downgrade it or whatever. So maybe this specific one could be allowed.
For the
Just one
kernel, we
line,
said
right?
the skip steps. No, you're deciding then which one you install.
But is that the case? I mean, if you skip a step, then you are installing something else. I don't understand. It's not.
No, you're skip the installed kernel simply means, okay, then we don't install a kernel, but then it's on you. But that
Okay.
also means that you have to somehow run the Dracut, because you own now the kernel situation. But that's the part that I feel we need to tell people what does that mean. If I say skip kernel,
No,
somehow
we
I
have a
should
stage for
know.
that.
Sorry?
We have a stage for that. What Chaka is saying here. So you don't install the kernel in the installation step, in the installation stage. Then you install the kernel yourself with some command, and then you run the init stage. So instead of running the big wrapping kairos-init command, you split them in the install packages and the init one, and in between you install whatever you want. So it's
Yeah.
not really that hard. It's just
I get it, but how do I know this without having to come and read this particular message from a checker?
we can put it in the docs.
Yeah. So somehow either the tool needs to tell you, okay, if you skip this step, remember that you have to run that, or we put it in docs or something. Yeah.
But but I think Eric didn't like this solution either. But maybe that's all we can offer. I don't know. In any case, let's not spend too much time on this.
Yeah.
So there are two ways here. Either we document the workaround and close this, and then we can also open another ticket for a more universal solution for other people that want to modify that. So I think that might conclude it. Document the workaround, add a follow-up ticket, not for this release probably, to make kairos-init, spit out instructions, and that concludes it.
Sounds good. Yeah, agree.
Right. So, and then support for confidential containers. No Hadron says, but no, actually what we miss is the Hadron one. The no Hadron one is working, just missing the documentation. I have it in my to-do to document it, but I didn't do so because I'm waiting to see. So I'm currently working making Hadron work, and I'm just not sure if anything else will come up that needs documentation. So I'm only gonna write docs when I'm done. So yeah, this is already working. It just and I also have notes on how it worked. So we just need to polish it and put it in the docs. So it's not a lot of work. But what actually is a lot of work, or might be a lot of work, is making Hadron work, which is this ticket here. I don't see that in the release, but it's this one. And since I think I should put it here. I don't know why it's not here, but that's what I'm currently working on. This one, this fellow.
Okay. Yeah, it was in the other, because it was in another part of Kairos is 4.2, I think. Yeah, we decided to split.
I can drop it. I can drop it.
No, because we decided to split, right? We have confidential workloads on non-Hadron on this one.
So it's not for 401. It's not a blocker. Okay.
Yeah, it's not blocking.
All right. But this is working. So maybe I can just write down the instructions to close this one. And then NVIDIA through, which we know already works, but waiting for Chaka to be back from vacation and see what else is left. So we are almost there for the release. Let me take us to the board. Something that may people wonder is, when do we cut a new release? Although everybody should have their own pipelines, we've said that a lot of times. They shouldn't rely on us to release. But with the new CV, how is it called? The one affecting every Linux distro, right?
CoAPI.
CoAPI fail, yeah.
Yeah, CoAPI fail. People might expect us to cut a release. And actually, we're going to cut a release, and it's probably going to be 4.1. But we have to check that every distro already has a fixed kernel version, and we can bump. And we actually need to do that on Hadron as well. There is an open pull request that bumps to kernel 7. But Chaka made a comment there that he doesn't like some workaround, but we can't tell what the workaround is. So I think it's going to wait until maybe tomorrow, or we merge today and discuss it tomorrow again. But yeah, we're trying to get a release out anyway. All right, let me go to the done column. What did we do? Migrate from Kaniko to Buildah. That's operator work. It has tests. I tested it. It works, but it's quite a big change of a tool. So expect some bugs you maybe didn't catch. But it does have tests, right? It's end to end. So it tests all the flows, I think. I remind you, we replaced Kaniko because Kaniko, the official original Kaniko repo is archived. So we moved to Buildah. And that was this ticket and part of the 4.1 release of Kairos. Yeah, documentation for the same one already merged. This one is interesting. We have discussed that in the past. We had various requests, people asking, how do I do this? How do I add 2 disks? How do I split partitions like that? Any kind of custom layout.
It's in the
And last,
It is in the documentation.
it is already, yeah, but some of the things we didn't support because we allowed some things. Last time in the planning call, we discussed one solution that could cover for everything, which is let them build their own script and we skip partitioning altogether. We just expect labels on whatever partitions people create, and that's the script prefix, like a scheme. And this now works, and it changes in all YIP, SDK agent, and it's already in the latest docs, the Edge docs. So if you go to the Kairos docs, the Edge, you'll already see it, although there is no release yet with this. But 4.1 will have that, so make sure you check it out. It's very interesting, and I actually put a nice example that is using 2 disks, putting the various Kairos partitions on the 2 disks and skipping partitioning altogether. And that should at last, cover for everybody. Build your own script, spit out what device you want, and done, right? Another ticket that was there for 4.1 is this one. It says OS Builder because it was a rather old one. Wherever you see OS Builder, nowadays it's the Kairos operator. So there was a request to allow people setting node selector and affinity arguments to be able to target specific nodes for building. Specifically, I think it was for architecture, if I recall correctly. Must have been Jason, I think, yeah. So he wanted to build on ARM for ARM, right, to make things faster and avoid emulation. And it's now in, so the operator now supports that. I don't remember if I cut the release. I think it needs a new release of the operator for this one. I'll check. This is the pull request for that. This is explaining how it works. This is bumping things, preparing for release, or fixing security reports from the USB scanner. This is the SDK, this is the agent, this is the documentation for the new flexible disk partitioning. And this was just cleaning up earthly and stuff like that, and a small bug fixing the SDK. So all part of working on the disks. So if there is no question, I'm archiving them. Let's see what's under review. NVIDIA Thor. I guess Itzaka is testing it. That's why it's there, or do we need to review? I'm not sure. And why is there 2? Ubuntu and Hadron. Okay.
I think it misses some AuroraBoot changes still.
Wow.
I remember I've seen AuroraBoot PRs still on that needed to land. No, it was not updated, yeah.
Maybe the other one. Okay, but we can talk to Itzaka tomorrow. I'm not sure if this is waiting for a review. That's what I'm trying to understand. It's under review, but actually, how can you review NVIDIA Thor without a board? So just looking at the code, everything looks okay, but Anyway, okay, let's talk to Chaka when he's back. Adopter classics, we wanted to do what? Why it's under review?
Maybe we should not have it in this board. We have another board to follow up. The point at this moment is to support them so that they can go from proof of concept to pre-production or production.
Yeah, I mean, that's not exactly concrete work we have to do. It's open-ended.
Exactly. That's why we can remove it now from this board at the moment. You can see that it's already on the other board.
Does this remove it from project? I think.
I would say so, yeah.
That's what it says. All right, extra SIMD line support. Someone opened this one and I gave it a try and I don't think it works. I put some screenshots there. So it's missing in the summary and I don't even think the value specified makes it to the final build. I tried a couple of times and now it's also broken and needs updating the branch and all. I'll just leave it there in case who is this Colin? In case Colin wants to update it, but if not, maybe we can pick it up sometime next week. It shouldn't be too hard to fix it. Something missing in the wiring in the UI. So I mean the new field is there in one of the pages when you create a new build, but it doesn't make it to the end, and I don't think it is propagated down to AuroraBoot. So yeah, already reviewed, just waiting for a reply. Nokia 0S artifacts on latest releases. We discussed it last time, I think, and we all agreed that no, we're not going to block Kairos releases on K3S or K0S CVEs. This is an upstream fix, and people should have their own pipelines to bump it. So we made it optional, if I saw correctly, Mauro, and we don't block the release anymore. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the point. We're just waiting now on a Hadron release in order to be able to do the full release, because there are, as you mentioned, we still need to do the copy fail patch release.
Should I move it there? If I could, actually. Oh, doesn't want to. Look at that. No, I want you there. There it is. Okay, support confidential computing workloads on Hadron. That's what I'm currently doing, and it's there. I'm building images in this pull request, and then I have a script that takes the container image from TTLSH and builds an AMI and uploads that to, anyway, it builds an artifact, uploads that to S3, whatever. Eventually, it creates an AMI for AWS, and I test it there. And what I'm usually doing is so the last thing I did is I pulled the Ubuntu image, which works, and compared the kernel config with the Hadron image that doesn't work, and found a couple of options that were still missing. I added them, and now I'm trying to redo the whole thing. So that's what my debugging looks like, because you don't really get much output. It fails immediately after grab with no output, so you can't tell exactly what's missing. It's all guesswork. But eventually I'll find the option, by comparing with Ubuntu, I'll find the option that's missing, and I think this will conclude the ticket. But yeah, working on it. Hadron on risk V64. What are we doing there?
Blocked at the moment. I'm focusing on the event in Bologna, and as soon as that is done, I'll get back to this, but no progress at the moment.
Hadron QA, like we said, I'm currently testing ARPI, so let me put this there. I'm doing these two in parallel. Let me put my face also. Look at that. Come on. There. All right. So we're testing Raspberry and NVIDIA Thor. And a couple of other things here to finish it. So this is what we're currently doing. We saw what we still have left. I saw, Ettore, you removed the CAPI epic from 4.1.0, but we should rather discuss about it and see what else we can do. And William, maybe tell us where are you at right now and how we can maybe split work. Now we also have the new AuroraBoot with no release yet, but 4.1 will bring it in. And Torres' idea was that we can piggyback on AuroraBoot API to implement some of the features on the epic. So let me find the epic actually. Where would the epic be? Let me go to...
Sorry, I was distracted, Dimitris. Is this for unlocking CAPI? Sorry, I was distracted.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you have to do the whole CAPI epic on your own. And I was saying that now with the new AuroraBoot API, some of the features for CAPI could piggyback on that and make the AuroraBoot the backend of those CAPI operations. So let me find the epic and see specific examples of that. So I assume, Ettore, you moved it here. Yeah, this epic. So it was part of 4.1.0. Why is the event to reset done? Is it done? But we have all these tickets, right? All these features, let's say. Let's find an example. What is this? Consumer is Buildah. That's very vague. There. Vague and with no description. So this wanted to build images. So I'm assuming here we wanted to build images when they're requested, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. To actually, well, when that was opened up, it was when we had the OS Builder as a separate controller, right? It was mainly to make CAPI aware of building artifacts, so it could build artifacts on demand. So let's say you specify you want Kubernetes with K3s, so with some version, right? So then automatically CAPI could offload the building of the artifacts, right? So that's basically to close the circle.
Okay, that makes sense. What I'm not seeing here now is because you would you would trigger the operator now, not the OS Builder, right? The operator with from Aurora, then from the Aurora API. Is that what you're thinking, Ettore?
Yes. Now that AuroraBoot is like kind of to me now, naturally AuroraBoot have the responsibility of the artifacts building. So CAPI it's more of a layer, right? Like as a shim. I don't want to say the shim the word, but kind of like it can piggyback to AuroraBoot. I'm just saying that because it's mainly for us, because AuroraBoot you can deploy it also without Kubernetes, so it's easy to even debug, test things out, and then when it comes to Kubernetes, you are leveraging the same path, right? So you have same building steps, and everything should flow more or less naturally. But I mean, technically speaking, even the operator could include the AuroraBoot code or other way around. I mean, it's everything. It's pretty much done as a library, so we are kind of free on deciding here on the technical implementation. But I mean, I would lean towards using AuroraBoot as an API, just to make it consistent.
I'm just trying to look at how it would look from a user experience, from user perspective. So with CAPI in the management cluster, there would be the AuroraBoot, which which instructs the operator or somehow to build an artifact for the CAPI managed cluster. Is that, are you seeing it? Okay. So that means that the management cluster would have AuroraBoot and the operator in it.
Correct. And ideally, I mean, when we have a managed cluster, as AuroraBoot is doing already management, I mean, we could, again, piggyback on that. Like, basically converts the CAPI primitives to AuroraBoot primitives, right? This is what would happen there.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think how the separation of concern for CAPI is going to look like, because that means that that would technically mean that AuroraBoot becomes the CAPI infrastructure provider for Kairos, or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, okay, none of this is done, right? It's just that because of how AuroraBoot is evolving, now that there is something that looks like a pool of machines that you can reset to whatever image you want, it starts filling in the gap of what CAPI needed. Like, give me, a machine with that image or whatever. But part of what AuroraBoot is not doing yet is happening in the operator. So building OS artifacts and things. So at this point, since AuroraBoot is not ready, we could as well do, let me copy that, go directly, there maybe, not even, yeah, like this. So CAPI doesn't necessarily need AuroraBoot. It's Go code, our CAPI controller could just create whatever it wants and let the operator build it, right? If AuroraBoot is simply delegating down to the operator, it's not necessary that we consume AuroraBoot, but eventually I can see how the code in CAPI would look pretty much similar to what AuroraBoot will also be doing. There might be some duplication there.
Yeah, especially for the management part, right? Because I mean, nothing forbids for our CAPI layer to basically stub a phone home server like AuroraBoot is doing. So AuroraBoot is a library. So AuroraBoot, you can actually do your own phone home server easily. I mean, the Kairos agent can talk back to. So we can still have the contract on AuroraBoot, but not using AuroraBoot as an API. I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying.
Yeah. So make not really duplication, but reuse the same code. And this is the phone home server, so the pool is implemented here in some component.
Yeah. But then you would have another component which is racing with the AuroraBoot, which is phone home. Well, it's another phone home server. I'm not saying it have to race with the AuroraBoot, right? It can still use AuroraBoot as a library or like we prefer.
Yeah, I mean, we can extract that part as a separate component and let both reuse it.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm trying to understand. So AuroraBoot has implicitly a machine management layer, right? So the way I'm trying to understand is I think it's quite ingenious to get CAPI to issue the creation of an artifact or I need this type of Kubernetes engine and I need this type of image. So that's fantastic. The operator or AuroraBoot can do that. Then CAPI, I mean, for our CAPI at the moment is going to say, well, I need it for CAP V or CAP K. So it's going to contact that infrastructure operator to create that specific cluster or that with those nodes. So what I'm not seeing at the moment is how is AuroraBoot playing in that contract between the infrastructure operator and CAPI. What is AuroraBoot role? Because until we have virtual machines, there could be just let's say a step when CAPI asked for the image for the Kubernetes version we are going to have, like, let's simplify it. We're going to have two fields. One is the Kubernetes version, an engine, and the other one is the OS type. But then when it's ended off and the operator or AuroraBoot issues the creation. But then when it's ended off to the actual infrastructure provider, that could be a bare metal, could be a cloud, or could be a virtual hypervisor. Then what's AuroraBoot going to do there? Because then CAPI needs to manage that, needs to issue management of that infrastructure. So what's AuroraBoot machine inventory doing there?
I think here, so I think it's a different thing what you describe. I think this idea here introduces a new infrastructure provider, which is like, let's call it AuroraBoot, right? Because AuroraBoot knows where the machines are. If you want to use an existing infrastructure provider, probably you don't need this.
Oh yeah, that's I understand. So you would want, I think now I understand it. You would want to register machines from whatever infrastructure provider into Aurora, and then Aurora would do all the wiring for.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Like a thin layer that abstracts what the actual infrastructure is, and the infrastructure is Kairos. I have nodes there. I mean, we kind of briefly discussed it, and we said, okay, let's not introduce a new state of machines just to simplify the code. But you have machines with something on them, which you can reset to whatever you want. So the initial state of them, what they have on them, is irrelevant. With just, some small Kairos image. But since you can reset them to whatever you want, fully reset them, right? The config, the state partition, the persistent partition, all of them, and you can already do that in AuroraBoot, by the way. Then you can repurpose them.
Yeah.
And it already becomes a pool. So you already have something like an infrastructure provider, but you don't really care. It could be built on top of some other provider. No, I mean, you could be on AWS, right? And it could still look like AuroraBoot.
Yeah. No, I get it. This is actually makes sense. This actually makes sense.
Yeah. But that doesn't solve the problem of how do you support the rest of the infrastructure provider. So what do we do if someone says, I am on CAPV, for example, or whatever other provider, right? And I just want Kairos as a bootstrap provider and a control plane provider. Is that a request we should expect? Do people have such requirements?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that we should, because it's fair to say that we should. We have two paths to take. One is we drop the idea of having a pure native CAPI implementation, where we say, okay, we are providing with control plane and bootstrap, and you come in with infrastructure, and we do the infrastructure like we're doing now, do the infrastructure integration. Or we say, this is how we implement CAPI. The AuroraBoot is in the middle, and it presents machines to Kairos CAPI for provisioning. But then in that case, if somebody has Hetzner, is using Hetzner CAPI infrastructure, then we have to give a way to integrate with Hetzner from AuroraBoot, because AuroraBoot,
which you can already do. You just follow the docs on how to bring up Kairos on Hetzner, and then it phones home to AuroraBoot and done.
Yeah, okay. But Hetzner is an example, right? I mean, I'm not saying that I'm against it. I'm saying that it makes a lot of sense, but we have to choose which part is going to be, because we are going to have people that say this is not a native, a pure implementation, which is okay. But then the infrastructure, integrating with the infrastructure to Kairos CAPI is going to be done in Aurora.
But I see this like as a new metal infrastructure provider for Kairos, for CAPI. You know what I mean? It's like there can be different infrastructure provider, and this is ours, right? Which is
we can do all of them, you mean?
Okay. So you're saying, okay.
And I'm just saying that, I mean, I don't see this excluding others' way of us making work. I mean, like you were working on the bootstrap provider without this, I think it's like of a collateral. I mean, this is like for us saying, hey, you can bring the metal in this way. It's a managed way of doing that, how we do it, and this is how we are going to do it. But I mean, us being compatible with other infrastructure provider, I think we should, right? I mean, it doesn't preclude that. I mean, if somebody's coming with cloud, with Google Cloud, and having this kind of infrastructure provider, having a bootstrap provider for us, I mean, it should be doable, right?
Yeah.
And that might solve some of the issues you had, William, with picking a lab, right?
Oh yeah.
If you
Oh, it would.
had a way to test it with whatever, like with VMs and AuroraBoot in front.
No, it would. It would. But I like also the idea of having AuroraBoot as an infrastructure provider, and then Kairos CAPI piggyback on that.
But it's missing endpoints, I think, because obviously we didn't know exactly what CAPI requests from AuroraBoot to bring things up. So I can assume we're missing endpoints like listing machines, maybe, or an endpoint that says "give me a new machine." Right? I don't think AuroraBoot has that in the API. Ettore, correct me if I'm wrong. So we need some endpoints.
We can do a spike for that. We can.
And this is missing completely. So currently AuroraBoot is not delegating to the operator, but I don't think that's a blocker for the first part here. Because, I mean, it could as well just build it locally. We don't care. For the first part, you don't care how you got the machines, right? But we can work on this separately. So we can implement so it's an interface. We can make an implementation of the building block of AuroraBoot that delegates to operators. So some of us can work on this, and then this part can work separately. What do you think? I haven't, so I don't know exactly all those tickets, what they need, but William, you worked mostly on the CAPI operator, so does this sound like a feasible thing to do?
It
Having
does.
endpoints? Does? Okay.
It does, because we would have to implement the infrastructure provider contracts in AuroraBoot, so those objects, and then I can just implement the wiring from Kairos CAPI and treat AuroraBoot like it's an infrastructure provider. What I need to understand is what to put in AuroraBoot, and I think we can do a spike for that. We're going to need things like infra cluster, infra machine template, infra machine, and the lifecycle management. Yeah, it's something that we can. Yeah, it makes sense. To me, it makes sense.
Just like something else, if we had that, now we already have two providers supported with the feature set, the same feature set. So the CAPV and the CAPK, anyway, Docker, what was it? One is KubeVirt. I think Docker is partly working.
vSphere, KubeVirt, and the Docker partly working. It's more for the for the
Okay, so let's say we introduced AuroraBoot as yet another one.
Yeah.
Then if one picked up, for example, this one, the reset machines, does that mean we implemented on all, let's say, the three of them? Leave out Docker, but any feature we add before we deliver, we would have to implement it on all of them, right?
Well, it's implemented already in CAPI, the reset. But for AuroraBoot, we would need to. So for the infrastructure providers that you mentioned, it's already implemented in the infrastructure provider, so we don't care about it. But
this is done here then.
But for AuroraBoot, we would have to.
Yeah, that's new. It wasn't there. Okay, I get it. Re-onboard them. I mean, this already kind of assumes, because you don't re-onboard things on CAPI, they go away and new ones appear. So this is assuming AuroraBoot, so we can keep it around for when we have the AuroraBoot as well. Let me pick another one. Control plane we already have. Why are these still open? This is done.
I'm not closing stuff. You're right. The code. That's bad.
Implement infrastructure provided for Kairos, CAPI provider. Okay, maybe William, you can go through these tickets.
Yeah,
Let
I
me
have to
actually
go
share
through
it
it.
with
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
See what needs closing. I wouldn't keep them open until we also have this for AuroraBoot, because these are done for what we have. But when we introduce the AuroraBoot, which should be a separate ticket, we obviously have to implement them all. Let me share it in the chat here to save you some time.
Yeah.
So yeah, please go through them, and if something needs closing, we can
Yeah.
clean this up.
Yeah. Bad
And we're
experience from my side. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no worries. And we also need a ticket for this part and for this part, right?
Yeah, but is it a ticket or a spike?
This one is a spike. This one, I think we can dive right into it because there is an interface. So AuroraBoot doesn't exactly care how this is happening. This is calling out to an interface currently, same machine, build stuff. But everything AuroraBoot does right now locally is possible through the operator. So I think this can be picked up. Ettore, is that correct?
Yeah. I think so.
And what's the priority? I wouldn't block 4.1 on this. So maybe you can add one ticket for 4.2 for this part, unless there is already one. Is there one? Use AuroraBoot. Use the operator as an implementation for AuroraBoot building. Let me see.
Don't think I've created it. Probably it's in the
What am I looking at here?
repository of AuroraBoot with the changes. Probably. Probably it's in the issue of Daedalus when it was in the other repo, because we had few issues there that we have created.
There's only 3 tickets, and I don't think we would create a ticket in AuroraBoot. This must be renovate. Come on, GitHub. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'll create another one. If it's duplicate, we can close. I'll create one on 4.2 that says this is a feature request, feature make AuroraBoot use the operator for building. Current, come on. AuroraBoot.
The link that you sent is not what you are showing, Dimitris.
Okay, let me finish this and I'll
Yeah,
check.
do that.
Currently, AuroraBoot builds artifacts on the same container.
Oh, forget what I said. It's good.
Okay, but being an interface means we can delegate to the operator to build. Let's do that. Okay, we need a better description, but this should be enough to remember what it is about. And I put it on 4.2, so 4.2 can go away. And the other part, this is a spike. Where do I put it? I should have closed it. Maybe here, CAPI. Here, no, wouldn't be so easy, right? Maybe, there, and then create sub issue. How do we describe that? It's a feature request, feature implement AuroraBoot as an infra provider. Now Boot provides an API which we can use. Provision machines. Let's add whatever endpoints might be missing and try this out. So it's a spike, right? It's not the final implementation. I'm going to say spike here and added that there. And maybe probably should try that first. Whoopsie. And That's for 2. Okay, I think we have a plan. Let's try to finish 4.1, whatever we have open. And you can feel free to work on 4.2 tickets if you're not working on 4.1. I don't think we have anything else. We didn't look at the tickets. We still have 4 minutes. Let's see if there is any incoming bug, something we completely ignored. Issues. That's me. That's me. That's not for 4.1, Ettore. Build and release official trusted boot images. That means signed by Kairos, right?
Yeah, that's not for 4.1. No.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It's on. It's already in a roadmap.
Okay. Apple setup hard codes air gap. I remember reviewing that or replying to that. Let me move it actually to under review. Where is it? No, I didn't. Maybe I replied here. Oh, the PR is closed. Does that mean this is closed as well? Let me put it under review. Under review. Yeah, okay. We can check. I think this is done, but let's check. Classics we discussed. QEMU guest agent. I think we did this. Probably just the ticket needs closing as well. No.
No, I don't think. Was it done?
I remember Ichaka agreed.
I'm checking Hadron, but I don't remember seeing it.
I do need to drop to get ready for my next call.
Yeah, okay,
Yep.
William. See you around.
Great seeing you, man. Have a good one.
If you need me, you can ping me on the chat. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I'll put this under review. I think this is done, but let's check. I'm putting this under review. Cases we discussed. I think I can close mine. It's just waiting for a release. We already discussed, yeah. SD boot with init, that's Ichaka 3 weeks ago. So we already discussed, I think. And Ichaka is not here. So I don't see anything else incoming. Yeah, okay. All right, I think we are done. Guys, anything else you want to bring up? For whoever is watching a recording and is still here in the end of it, Mauro, I don't remember the slots, but we are gonna be in Bologna on the 17th, 18th of May.
18th and 19th of May. 19th we have talk, and we will have a booth, so you can come talk to us. The whole team is going to be there. So if you want to know about Kairos Immutable system, this is your best chance to get all the answers.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for joining. Have a good day, good week.
Ciao, guys.
Bye.
Bye.